Hi, my name is Walter Scott, and I'd like to say a few quick words about oracy, which is this movement campaigning for active teaching in the classroom of spoken language and public speaking. And it's a movement which seems to be characterised at the moment by some quite impressive organisations, including Voice 21 and the Centre for Oracy at Cambridge University, and indeed the Historic English Speaking Union. And it's a movement which also seems to have captured the interest of the Secretary of State for Education, Damien Hinds, who in his first speech as Education Secretary spoke of the importance of spoken English and public speaking as a soft skill in terms of getting into careers and future career attainment. So there's a very clear value being expressed there. And I think that this is exciting, and it has the potential to close this perceived gap between state schools and private schools, and the idea that young people coming out of private schools have an unfair advantage, having been given more opportunity to develop public speaking skills. But I think there's also a perceived risk there where you close one gap of another gap opening up, and that gap is between children with what I call neurotypical speech or fluent speech and children who don't have neurotypical speech and may have a condition like a stammer. And I speak as somebody who went to a school where public speaking and oratory were considered to be very important activities, and where pupils were expected to make speeches and to present and to read aloud and express views in the classroom. And in my own experience, it was of moments of real anxiety and fear at being expected to speak out aloud, and then exposing the fact that I couldn't speak fluently. And whereas this should have been an opportunity for me to develop confidence and self-esteem in public speaking situations, actually it was detracting from my self-confidence. Now, I did have speech therapy at school, but the speech therapy when I had it was either in an empty classroom or in a room outside of the school, so that there was a gap between teaching in the classroom and the therapy that I was receiving. Whereas the reality is that in a speaking situation, what's impacting on your speech to a large extent is the things going on around you. So I'm of the view that there is an opportunity here to bring speech therapy and teaching closer together, and where possible to integrate them in the classroom. And this would require collaboration between speech therapists and teachers, and indeed the child requiring speech therapy, so that therapy is being applied actively to the requirement to speak aloud in the classroom. And I think that is practically perfectly possible. And I think it's important because a child needs, and a young person need to understand how to manage and cope with the fact of having a stammer, potentially right the way through the rest of their lives in real live speaking situations. But also, importantly, it's very important that all the other children and young people around them understand that while oracy opens up exciting new opportunities, that the voice is frail and it is prone to flaw, and that fluency is not something that can be taken for granted. And I think the place to learn that is in the classroom. Once again, I would like to hear your views on something which I think presents a pioneering opportunity for either a state school or potentially a leading private school. Look forward to hearing your views. Bye.